Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar on new modalities, key trends, and unmet needs. Today's webinar will be given by Sandy Tung, PhD Principal Consultant. She works with the APAC Custom Intelligence team here at Citeline. I'm the moderator for this webinar. My name is Rachel Sharamis. I'm a Key Account Manager for the APAC Global Accounts. Sandy is the Principal Consultant at Informa Pharma Intelligence, a team which specializes in principal and healthcare consultancy. Sandy has an interest in novel therapy development strategy and has conducted multiple projects in areas such as cell and gene therapy, RNAi, and digital therapy. Prior to joining the Custom Intelligence team, Sandy was a business development associate at Horizon Discovery, where she actively developed business opportunities in the cancer diagnostics and gene editing space. Prior to Horizon Discovery, she was part of the R&D intelligence team at AstraZeneca, where she analyzed pipeline progress and proposed portfolio management strategies. Sandy holds an MPhil in Bioscience Enterprise from University of Cambridge and a PhD in Biotechnology from National Chung Ching University. New modalities have significantly fulfilled pharma R&D activities for the past decades. They enabled novel strategies to address challenging targets and biological process at the center of disease mechanism. In this webinar, Citeline Custom Intelligence will review the key trends and issues of several key modalities: ADC, gene therapy, virus therapy, and RNA therapy. With deeper dives into this virus therapy, RNA therapy, and cell therapy, Oncolytic virus and antisense RNA and CAR-NK will be further discussed through case studies and the review of unmet needs. For this presentation, the following topics will be covered: clinical development activity and trends, commercial activity and trends, top companies, disease areas and targets, case studies, promising and failure products, and unmet needs. There will not be a live Q&A session today, but feel free to drop any questions into the chat box and we will follow up with you after.
Okay, so thank you, Rachel, for the introduction. So I hope everyone can see my slide right now. Okay, so I'll just go ahead then. So thank you, everyone, for joining the webinar. So my name is Sandy Tung. I'm a principal consultant based in London. So with this presentation, I would like to thank my colleagues, Tim Pan, Ben, Pengfei, and Maria for the group effort for producing this webinar content. So so the next slide showed the agenda for this webinar. So we will first do an overview of the new modalities, followed by some key trend analysis covering clinical development trend, likelihood of approval overview, and lastly, the commercial trend represented by deal-making trend. And then we're going to do some deep dive into 3 of the topics within new modalities. So we'll start with virus therapy with some focus in the oncolytic virus, and then followed by RNA therapy with focus on antisense RNA. And lastly, we'll focus on cell therapy with some focus in the CAR-NK therapies. So first, we're going to overview the type of new modality we're going to cover in this webinar. So here, we're going to cover 5 main types of the new modalities. So it will cover cell therapy, antibody drug conjugate, cell therapy, virus therapy, and lastly, RNA therapy. So for the cell therapy, we're going to cover are chimeric antigen receptor, T-cell receptor, stem cell, a tumor-infiltrating lymphocytes, and other cell types that have therapeutic effect. And for the RNA therapy, that will include messenger RNA, RNA interference, antisense RNA, and lastly, oligonucleotides such as aptamer. Okay, so now we're going to deep dive into some key trends that we have observed in the industry around new modalities. So we'll start with the pipeline trend. So using our in-house database pharma project, we have been able to monitor the pipeline development trend over the past few years. So, so as you can see on the right-hand side, we absolutely observe an uptick in the pipeline development trend. So we have for the past 5 years, so we have been able to see a 200% increase in the total number of active products in the new modality fields. So over 2,300 products are in preclinical research. And on the other hand, there are almost 1,100 products in the clinical development. So if you look into the detailed breakdown of the new modality type that involve in this uptick of the pipeline development trend, so you can see from here, this mostly involve cell and gene therapy. So cell therapy roughly consists of 40%, and gene therapy consists of around 37%. So combining that's roughly almost 80%, which is the majority of the new modality that contribute in this uptick trend. So moving on to clinical development, a clinical trial trend represented by number of trials within this field. So we use our in-house database called TrialTrove, which have expertise in tracking and monitor a clinical trial around the world. So using our database, TrialTrove, we have been able to track over 8.3 thousand industry clinical trials with new modalities since 1997. So among them, the majority of them are historical, meaning completed studies that accounted for around 47%. And some of them are terminated trial, accounted for 17%. And there are over 22% of trials that are ongoing, while the rest are planned. So just for last year, 2021, there are over 8,800 trials initiated just last year. Around 10% of it, 884, were for new modalities. And as you can see here, the breakdown again, the majority of them, similar to the pipeline development trend, majority of them are cell and gene therapies. So again, if you look at last year, there were twice as many new trials for new modalities as there were 5 years earlier. So you can definitely see the upcoming uptick of the trend. And the majority of the trial, if you look into the breakdown of the phases, the majority of the trial were in phase 2 development. And as I said, there are 40% of the ongoing trial that were for cell therapies, and where there's around 30 for gene therapies, and around 13% are RNA therapies, and also ADCs, and the rest are virus therapy, accounting for 4%. So, so let's review the likelihood of approval for the new modalities. So, using another database of ours called Biomed Tracker, we have been able to track the probability of success, where we call a phase success rate between different type of the modalities and different phases. So we have observed different outcome for different type of new modalities. So for example, the phase transition rate for cell and virus therapy, represented by pink bar over here, and the blue bar over here. So the purple diamond represent the average. So you can see that the phase transition rate for these two new modalities, cell and virus therapy, are below, roughly below average before pre-registration phases. However, once it passed the pre-registration phases, you can see from those two bars, the likelihood of approval is above average. On the other hand, the rest of the two new modalities, RNA therapy, represented by the light pink bar over here, and also gene therapy, represented by gray bar here. So before, to the point of pre-registration, you can see that the success rate is higher than average. But however, once you reach the approval stage, it's actually below the average. So kind of hint that the approval stage is often a hurdle for these two new modalities, which are gene therapy and RNA therapies. So if we look at the phases that usually are that the drug failed, so most new modalities fail between phase 2 and 3, with an average phase transition rate of 27%. And it is more likely for a new modality to progress to phase 2 than phase 3 in general. Okay, so let's take a look at the commercial trend then. So again, we use another overall database, Biometricer, where this database track a lot of deals that include alliance deal, partnership deal, investment deal, for example. So we have been able to track around 648 licensing deal involve new modality in our in-house database. So cell and gene therapy, again, involved in most of the deals, so accounted for roughly 65% of the deal just in the last 5 years. And if you look at the total deal value, it's quite significant. So the total potential deal value within the new modality field is about $110 billion. And we highlight two of the most interesting deals. So one example is the deal between AstraZeneca and Citeline Therapeutics back in 2020. And it has the largest deal size, value at $4 billion. And it is about the Citeline Therapeutics multi-target RNAi platform. And the other deal is between Roche and Sarepta, and it involves the largest upfront payment value at $1.15 billion. And again, the pie chart over here shows the breakdown of the type of new modality. As you can see, again, cell and gene therapy accounted for the majority of the deal, and were closely followed by RNA therapy and then virus therapy. So the above summarize the key trend we have observed across different type of new modalities. So for the next section that I'm going to cover will be some deep dive into several highlight type of the new modalities. So we'll start with virus therapy. So again, this is the overview of the virus therapy pipeline using our database, in-house database called Pharma Project. So in our database Pharma Project, we have captured around 166 different virus therapy across all stages of development. And here, as you can here, show the breakdown of each of the based on phases. So around 65% of the program are in preclinical development, and only 4 that's currently in the market. And for some example, just in 2015, Amgen launched their T-VEC. It's one of the approved product back a few years ago. And also the most recent launch one is the one from Daiichi Sankyo in 2021. And if you look at the company that involved in virus therapy, there are over 100 companies that are developing virus therapies. So a lot of them are small to mid-size pharma. If you rank them based on the number of drugs they have in the pipeline, Targovax is really the pioneer, be having the around 10 drugs in their pipeline. So let's look at the disease area of focus within virus therapies. So the top disease are really, if you quantify them based on the number of drugs, so you can see that melanoma, brain cancer, and head and neck cancer are really the top 3 cancer types for virus therapies. So each of these indications have over 15 drugs in development and 1 launch product. And melanoma, just look at the top indication. Melanoma have over 40% of its pipeline in phase 2. So next, we're going to use case study to highlight some of the product that's currently either very promising or as a failed case study. So for this one, is a product called CG0070. So it is developed by CG Oncology, which is a US-based company founded in 2010. So this company not only have this product, but also have another candidate called GC0161, which is anti-CTLA4 antibody, still in the preclinical phases. So for this product, it is currently in phase 2 and phase 3, either as a monotherapy or combination of therapy. So for this product, it is a modified adenovirus type 5 carrying 2 modifications. So for the first one is a E2F1 promoter upstream of an E1A promoter. So for this modification, it enables the virus to selectively target and replicate in cancer cells. And the second modification, which is the gene for GM-CSF, that allow them to, so following the replication and the lysis, this second modification will enable release of this gene product, which can induce adaptive immune response, activating dendritic cell and T cell to attack cancer. So this product is currently in phase 3 trial for non-muscle invasive bladder cancer. So after BCG failure, so this company's CG Oncology is partnering with several big pharma to investigate this product in combination of several immune checkpoint moderator for the same indication, and also for other solid tumors. So the reason that we think that this product is promising so far is because it has shown positive clinical trial results so far. So its interim phase 2 data of this product in combination with Keytruda, it has shown that 89% of evaluable patients achieve complete response at the initial 3-month time point. And of those patients evaluable for a complete response at additional time point, 75% maintain a complete response at a 12-month assessment. So the safety profile also look good. So the treatment-related adverse events are generally limited to transient grade 1 to 2. So overall speaking, oncolytic virus therapy area is still facing several challenges and with high unmet need, either in the development or in the market. So here we summarize 5 main unmet need or challenges. You can say that in the oncolytic virus field. So the first one is the viral tropism and adverse effect. So there are ways to optimize this. So far, optimizing the capsid development have been working, and also some genome editing, and lastly, chemical modifications. And the second one is the oncolytic virus infiltration and diffusion challenges. So again, that can be optimized through constructing a novel recombinant virus targeting the fat protein. Or you can use engineered oncolytic virus to express various fusion proteins such as Fas protein. And the next one is the challenge to improve oncolysis. So it can be improved through constructing recombinant oncolytic virus to deliver therapeutic genes, such as encoding cytokines, tumor-associated antigens, or immune checkpoint inhibitors. And the next one is the antiviral immune responses. So the way to optimize is through suppressing antiviral immunity and the emission of dangerous symptoms, such as use of immunomodulator, histone deacetylase inhibitors, and magnetic nanoparticles. And lastly, the challenge is the delivery of oncolytic virus particle efficiently to the tumor where it make actions. So two ways of make further optimization. One is the modification of capsid, and the next one is the use of other materials such as other material as carrier assistance, such as tumor cell-derived microparticles, nanoparticles, and liposomes. So next, we're going to review the RNA therapy field with some focus around the antisense RNA. So again, we're going to start with some overview of the RNA therapy pipeline. So again, using our database for pharma project, we have been able to capture around 837 different RNA programs across different stages of development. So as you can see here, the most common RNA modalities are mRNA, which represented by the pink bar over here, and also the RNAi, which is represented as gray bar over here. So, so you can see that there are a lot of the product in preclinical development, but it kind of means that expect in coming years there will be more moving out to clinical phases very soon. And if you look at the later stage development products, so it's mostly antisense RNA therapy, and RNA therapy represented by the light pink bar over here, and also the mRNA modalities, which represented by the dark pink part over here. So for the late stage development, is mostly these two type of the modalities. So it accounted for around 70% in RNA field. And if you look at approval stage product, there are 8 out of 17 approved RNA drugs that are antisense oligonucleotide. So again, many companies are involved in developing of the RNA therapies. So different companies obviously have different specialties. So for example, for the mRNA therapies, Moderna and BioNTech are really the pioneer. It's mostly driven by the COVID-19 vaccine. But on the other hand, for antisense oligonucleotide, so Ionis is really the leader of all this. And moving on to mRNAi field, is the leader are Alnylam, Novo Nordisk, and Arrowhead Pharmaceuticals. So let's take a review of the disease area and target focus within the RNA therapies. So oncology, again, is the most studied disease area for RNA therapy, with almost 200 therapies in the development, and with a similar amount on mRNA and RNAi therapies. And followed by the oncology field is closely it is closely followed by the anti-infective disease area for the top indication for RNA therapy, and which is mostly respond to the COVID-19 pandemic for the past few years. If you look at the type of RNA that involved in different disease area, so mRNA, represented by the pink bar over here, is mostly utilized in cancer and also anti-infective disease. Whereas for the rest of the disease area is not the case. So it's mostly, as you can see here, the distribution is slightly different, and it mostly consists of RNAi, which is represented the gray bar over here, and also antisense oligonucleotide represented by the light pink bar over here. So using our database analysis, we have been able to identify the target that have been studied within the RNA therapy field. So the top target in RNA therapy for oncology, which is the top indication within this field, include TLR9, TGF-beta, PR-Receptor-Man, KRAS, STAT3, PD-1, PD-L1, for example. Although none of the target have any launch product yet, but the TLR9 and TGF-beta are the most advanced target with more clinical assets represented by the green bar over here, more clinical than preclinical. So it's this most advanced target. So besides this top target, we have be able to identify some novel target that appears in the past 2 years. So we have been able to identify around 60. So for example, some of the notable target that's just emerged for the past 2 years are PR-Receptor-Man, SNRP70, and as well as others. So again, we're going to make some case study that we think is either promising or quite a failed product in this field. So the first one is developed by Ionis, which is the leader of the antisense oligonucleotide field. So for this, Ionis have been specialized in this field across different disease areas, including cardiovascular, metabolic, CNS, oncology, immunology, and hematology. So this company already has 3 antisense launch RNA products. So for this product, donidalorsen, it works by binding the target RNA through a very specific nucleotide pairing and recruit a cellular enzyme called RNase H1 to degrade the target RNA. So the reason that we think this product is promising is because, again, it's promising phase 2 trial data so far. So it's currently in development for phase 3 trial now, but it's phase 2 studies in patients with HAE. It shows positive results. So, for example, the angioedema attack was reduced by 90% in the treated arm compared to the placebo arm. And the treated patient also showed superior quality of life, and the safety profile is also very good. So it gave favorable safety and tolerability results in the studies. So on the other hand, this product shows another failure. It shows a failure example within the antisense oligonucleotide field. So this product is called AZD4785. It's originally developed by the same company, Ionis, but subsequently licensed to AstraZeneca in 2012. So activating mutation in KRAS underlying pathogenesis of up to 20% of human tumors, and KRAS is one of the most frequently mutated genes in cancer. However, it has been challenging to develop therapeutics around inhibiting KRAS activities. So the whole concept for this product, AZD4785, is targeting KRAS and is using antisense oligonucleotide that is complementary to a sequence in KRAS mRNA, and that can lead to targeting the mutant as well as the wild-type and KRAS isoform for degradation. So the preclinical study has shown that this product was be able to deplete a cellular KRAS mRNA protein, resulting in pretty good inhibition of the downstream KRAS pathways. So, however, it failed to progress to further in the clinical phase. So this product failed to produce positive result in phase 1, although the safety profile is pretty good, but the efficacy is really the issue for the failure of this product. Okay, so again, we summarize some of the key challenges and unmet need in the antisense oligonucleotide drugs. So 2 issues. One is the toxicity, one is the drug delivery. So for the toxicity, it's either hybridization-dependent toxicity due to on and off-target pharmacology, or it is hybridization-independent toxicity due to non-antisense effect of the antisense oligonucleotide. So for the hybridization-dependent toxicity, it's usually specific, but it's unintended mRNA knockdown other than the drug target. And for the for the hybridization-independent toxicity, it's usually the antisense oligonucleotide accumulation effects or the pro-inflammatory mechanisms. And lastly, it might be the aptameric binding. So how to mitigate the challenges? However, so far there's no shortcut, no easy way. All the company has been doing is through early and comprehensive in vitro and in vivo screening in combination with extensive research, either in the lab or as secondary research using publications. So in this way, you can choose the best candidate for the clinical trials. And next challenges are the drug delivery. So it's mostly resolved from the size of the antisense oligonucleotide. It's rather large. It's typically it's quite large and it's not easy to pass through plasma membranes. And once it pass the plasma membranes, it still need to bypass many hurdles before reaching the correct intracellular site of actions. For example, it need to resist nucleus degradation, will also avoid removal by various of internal systems, and it has to cross capillary endothelium at the desired target cell. And lastly, for some indication, it need to pass the blood-brain barriers. So there are several ways to mitigate for medication strategy. So for the delivery itself, you can use nanocarrier techniques such as liposomes, exosomes, or DNA cages, or you can modify chemically of the backbone so to improve PK or PK/PD and biodistribution. Or you can use a bioconjugation that can promote the intake of the cell and specificity, and also reduce clearance. So lastly, we're going to do deep dive is around one of the hottest field in the new modality field, which is cell therapy, with some focus in the CAR-NK. So again, we're going to start with reviewing the cell therapy pipelines. So using our database, in-house database pharma project, we have been able to capture around 2,000 ongoing cell therapy programs. So the most of them are CAR-related, represented by the pink bar over here, and also stem cell represented by the light pink bar over here. So the majority are these two types of the cell modalities. And there are over 670 cell therapies in clinical development. So if you look at late stage development, that's usually that's accounted for around 18%. And if you look further into it, the majority of them are stem cell therapies, and there's 66 therapies that are approved. So again, most of the companies that involve in cell therapies are small to mid-sized pharmas, but still, big pharma still play a significant role within this. So there are 3 pharma within the top 10 companies that are involved in the cell therapies. That are BMS, Takeda, and Astellas. So let's look at the disease area and target for the cell therapy. So similar to RNA therapy and virus therapies, oncology remains to be the top disease area for cell therapy. So it has over 1,200 therapy in development. And if you look at the breakdown, there are over 50% of the anti-cancer cell therapies that are CAR related. So besides oncologies, metabolic diseases, musculoskeletal, and neurological disease are the top disease area for cell therapies. So if you look at the breakdown of the type of the cell therapy, different from anti-cancer cell therapy, stem cell is it consists of the majority of the type is stem cell therapies rather than CAR related. So if you look at the top target in the cell therapy for oncology, which is the top indication, top disease area for cell therapy. So in our database, we capture over 190 targets investigated by cell therapy oncologies. So for examples, those are CD19, TNF, RSF17, CD22, for example. So among those, CD19 is the most advanced target with more than half of the product in clinical development, represented by the green bar over here, and has already launched product, 5 launched product to be exact. And the majority of these targets are related to CAR therapies again. And for the past 2 years, there have been some novel targets emerging. So beyond this top targets, so some examples are MAP3K1, CD3E, CD8A, etc. So again, given that CAR-NK is still relative very novel, very new field. So there are very limited case study that we can do, but one of it have shown very promising result, and that is developed by Takeda, TAK007. So it is currently being developed by Takeda again with this partnership with MD Anderson Cancer Center. So this product is a natural killer cell that have been transduced with a retroviral vector expressing a gene that encode anti-CD19 CAR, interleukin-15, and also inducible caspase-9 as a safety switch. So the feature of this product is that it is off-the-shelf therapy, which means that it can enable treatment without delay and can be administered in outpatient setting. So the reason that we think this product is promising is because the positive phase 1/2 trial with the result from this trial show promising result. So basically, this involved in 11 patients with relapse or refractory CD19 positive cancer. So it mostly involved in non-Hodgkin lymphoma or chronic lymphocytic leukemia. So around 73% of the patients have a response, and 64% of patients had a complete response. And the response was pretty rapid and can be seen within 30 days after infusion at all dose level. So the safety profile also pretty good. So there's no occurrence of CRS, no neurotoxicity, for example, and no other major safety concerns. So here again, we summarize some unmet need and challenges for developing CAR-NK therapies. So the first one is really the limited proliferated potential of the NK cell. So from the literature search, there are several ways to optimize it, and one of it is the cytokine-based expansion, and also the feeder-based expansion. Another challenge is the resistance of NK cell to genetic engineering, and the way to optimize is through leverage cytokine support, such as using of IL-15, IL-12, or adding other agents, and or you can electroporation of the plasmid with the use of DNA transposon, and lastly, CRISPR-Cas9 for target gene integration. And lastly, maybe the most challenging one is the limited persistence upon infusion of the CAR-NK therapies. So there is still much room for improvement for this one. So far, research haven't been able to show a good strategy to mitigate, to optimize these challenges. So people have tried to add systematic cytokine support, but however, it has resulted in severe side effect. So anyway, in summary, this is the area that still has much room for improvement. Okay, so the next slide will summarize all the key takeaways for this presentation. So again, so we have seen a very a trend for a new modality that have been doubled in 5 years, and the industry drug pipeline has grown to exceed 3,500 drugs. And in terms of the number of approved therapy, it also increased by 235% since 2016. And around 880 trials were initiated just last year for new modalities, and it's significantly more than how it was in 2016, which there was only 360 trials. So in terms of virus therapy, so we think that oncolytic virus have very unique characteristics among various of new modalities. So the paradigm in this field have shifted from just utilizing the oncolytic virus tumor selective replication and specific cytotoxicity to harnessing their modulating capabilities. However, the success of the oncolytic virus drug remain limited, and there are several obstacles, as I summarized in my previous slide, will need to be overcome before seeing the dawn of the oncolytic virus drug era. And in terms of the RNA therapies, so we think that the potential of this field is unlimited. And we have seen for the past few years, there have been a rapidly expansion category of this for the RNA drug. So now include antisense oligonucleotide, siRNA, microRNA, mRNA, and lastly RNA aptamers and something more. And within these, the antisense oligonucleotide remain to be the most successful type of the RNA therapy. So we have seen that it offers therapeutic effect beyond oncology and also across a wide array of diseases, but in particular, anti-infective diseases, which is mostly driven by COVID-19. Within RNA field, drug delivery is still remain to be the biggest hurdle, and there have been various of active research ongoing to improve the effective and on-target delivery. And lastly, within the cell therapy field, we think that NK cell can serve as a suitable cell source for allogeneic cell therapy. So we think that is much safer than CAR T cell for mitigating the risk of immunogenicity and GovHT associated with allogenic technology. And it has potential to treat various of solid tumors. However, it had inherited challenges, including resistance to viral transduction, limited proliferation, and persistent upon transfusion. So this slide summarizes the concluding thoughts of our presentation. So the next session we're going to introduce is that how our custom intelligence team can help within this field. So we share a few questions that we are frequently asked by our clients. So we are frequently asked by our client as a consulting team how to choose the best indication for my pipeline drug, and how to choose the best target for my pipeline drug or platform technologies. So the way our consulting approaches is really to help our client to find the right balance between opportunity and risk. So there are several ways to measure opportunity and risk. So here list some example that we have quite extensive experience in the past projects. So to help our client to evaluate opportunity, we can either measure the market size, usually represented by the patient number in the interested country, or we can use very objective methods to measure the unmet needs using our databases, or that can be either done by KOL interviews. And we can do assessment around the treatment trend, what regulatory opportunities, or either the research trend, which we build in-house on grant database, capture the very early stage of the research activity in certain field. And lastly, we can we can do this qualitatively through KOL interview, usually involved in academic physicians in certain field. And in terms of risk, we can use our various of database to measure the level of competition, also the type of competition that involved in the area that of your focus. And as you can see from previous slides, we can measure the development feasibility through calculating the likelihood of approval, what the failure rate of certain type of trials, length of the trial, the estimate cost of it. And also, of course, we can consult the KOL, which we have close relationship to talk to them about to help us to evaluate the overall risk for developing certain target or certain indication. So as you already know, we have various of in-house database. So these show some example of the database that we frequently use. So combining all this data, so our custom intelligence or consulting team have the advantage to have access to all the database that we have, and also using our experience in the consulting field, we'll be able to use the big data as well as our experience to help you make the right decisions. So we have been able to establish a very objective and quantitative evaluation to help you make those very important decisions, such as selecting the indication or selecting the targets. That is through building this kind of metrics to help you very visually, very easy to understand opportunity risk you're going to face for the whatever the indication or target you want to develop or go further. So here, the following 2 slides show some example about the past project. So this is an indication pattern model we built for one of our clients. So the right-hand side show an example of the deliverables. So for this project, the client want a very objective process to kind of very systematically evaluate a list of indication they have in mind for long-term R&D purposes. So to help them, we built a weighted partnership model to cover several parameters such as unmet need, competition, development feasibility, and market size. So we have been able to put a score for each of the indication of interest and also weight them based on importance of those parameters. So we built a dynamic Excel model, so meaning that they can always edit it whenever needed, because different companies have different focus at different phases. So anyway, by building this very objective model, they can evaluate the position of their indication of interest anytime, and it helped them to build their pipeline strategy and also portfolio management strategy in long term. So this is the output would look like. So the y-axis will represent opportunity, and y-axis will be the risk level. So the top right will represent, for example, the biggest opportunity, but with the biggest risk, and the far left bottom will represent the lowest risk but lowest opportunity. So you can easily see by this graph which indication to go for based on the risk appetite of yours at that certain timing. And we also be able to do a heat map to help you understand at a glance where are the most attractive area by parameters. So another way of doing this is to help our client to identify the most attractive target. So this is not just another example of how we help our clients. So this client have a platform technology of related to RNA technologies. However, they are unsure how to select the most interesting or most attractive target and indication in the world. So we help them, we do a machine reading exercise. So being able to review thousands of literature objectively and score them based on our parameters. So we've been able to help them to identify the most attractive or the most popular indication target combination from this massive literature search. And then the step followed by is the validation of our using our database and using our expertise. So using our database, we further objectively evaluate, for example, the competition, existing competition, and to also use our internal specialists to manually review the outcome of this machine reading. And finally, we also validate the final conclusion with the KOL to make sure it makes sense in the clinical field. And we're combining all this, we help the client to plan their medium and long-term research goal using this method, and also help them a lot when presenting to their investors or internal stakeholder using this very objective method. So in addition to the case study that I just present, our consulting team not only doing this, but doing a lot of our all types of consulting projects. So we have roughly 20 years of experience in consulting. And so roughly, this is just a rough count of over 500 projects that we have conducted. So this showed an overview of the consulting project type that we have done for your reference. So welcome to contact us if any of these raise an interest of yours where you want to discuss a different type. That's also fine. These just some example basically. So as you can see, our offering range from different strategic altitudes. So that can be only product levels or all the way to the industry level. So starting from the product level, we frequently do opportunity assessment where we evaluate the opportunity and risk of an early stage product. So that can be done. We call it TPP testing, target product profile testing. That's true. So various of secondary research and also primary research involve KOL interviews. We also do various of pricing strategies. So for example, pair interview and or also pharmacoeconomic modeling. So very objectively to calculate the maximum price you can justify using scientific data. So that's specific, very useful for high value product, such as new modality product that I just explained here. So that's something we also do. And we have various of database that we can do to help you with trial planning. So we can do trial benchmarking, endpoint design, or success rate estimation. And on the commercial side, we frequently do forecasting and evaluation. So that involve in epidemiology trend analysis, sales forecasting, and MPV modeling. And moving a little bit up in terms of the altitude of the strategy. So we help portfolio optimization. So for example, selecting indication will help you prioritize your internal assets, which one to go for is something we frequently do. So that's one of the example I showed earlier is belong to this. And we also help you help client to decide where to launch your product based on various of assessment models. And from the commercial side, we help with partner strategies by analyzing various of deals, licensing deal, investment deals, or all kinds of commercial activities. We help also help a client to identify the most suitable partners and also help them to connect with their partner using from a third party point of view, which usually lead to more success in this case. And very recently, we offer real-world data. So we have very robust US claim database that can help our client for their sales and marketing strategy. For example, how to arrange or distribute your sales force across, for example, US, which state, based on the real-world data, which is very accurate and very recent. And we also be able to help in the real world. What's the patient journey like, not just through secondary research, but through real-world data. And that can significantly help our clients through their long-term product strategies. And lastly, in the industry field, we frequently do all kinds of market landscape analysis. So that's pretty covered in my previous slides. So we can do all kinds of investment deal trend, clinical trial trends, or regulatory trend. We can frequently do that. And we using various of data that we have, either from the clinical side or the commercial side, we can do very strategic market positioning for the all kind of big corporate companies or even just small ones. So we can do a competitive benchmarking, meaning help you to understand how far you from your existing competitor or your future competitor in various of aspects. And also we can analyze the corporate strategy of yours or your competitors and to help you get a sense how far you behind or ahead of your competitors, so you know your position in the market in the future or currently. So this slide concludes all the offering that we have been doing, and of course not limited to this, but these are the frequent one that we have doing. So welcome to contact us for any inquiries, or just if you are interested in any kind of project type, or in just some small question from the presentation I just gave. So always welcome, and thank you again for your attention.
Thank you so much, Sandy, for your presentation. We all very much appreciate it. If anybody has any questions, Sandy's email is listed on the screen as well. You guys can pop your questions in the chat, and then Sandy will get back to you soon with answers to your questions. If nobody has any other questions to drop in the chat, thank you so much for coming. We appreciate it, and have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.